1 year. This is our first year anniversary owning the RadRovers. And let me tell you how it went. It's been great. I have no regrets. I'm glad I got these, even though I know they're not the fastest thing or the fastest e-bike out there, but they are absolutely perfect for cruising, just like I'm doing now. So let me go over the first year of owning these. Things that have happened, good, bad, and just the overall experience. So let's start with talking about the overall experience. Of owning these and riding these in the various places we've been. Now, granted, I do ride the Himiway Zebra too. This one, the RadRover 6, is the best of the two when it comes to cruising. It is the most comfortable and refined of the two. In ride quality and build quality. But I can't comment on other brands. Those are just the only two I rode. But between the Zebra and the RadRover wins hands down for cruising comfort. Now, we've ridden many places on these, of course, around our neighborhood like I'm doing now. But we've taken them down to the coast, Santa Cruz, Monterey, cruised down there. Did some pretty brutal off-roading in Harvey Bear. And some just cruising bike paths around the South Bay of San Francisco Bay. So I have ridden this bike in many different varying terrains, from rough to smooth. And I've had no issues with the way it rode. It conquered it, and it still seems like this bike is still pretty tight. Nothing's fallen apart. I've had, between Katrina's bike and mine, I've had 4 flat tires. One of them was from a nail in the road, and the other 3 were from goat head thorns. But since then, after I changed the tubes, I did put some of that tire sealer or tire sealant in the tubes to help prevent it happening again. And so far, good luck. No flat tires. Now there have been some changes I've made to this to help improve the rider position and rider comfort. And those have been the Sun Tour suspension seat post, the Cloud 9 seat. I got a stem riser to bring it up a little more, so I wasn't down here, I'm up here now, to get myself in that upright position instead of hunched over getting numb palms. I've also added the two end mount rear view mirrors and this accessory bar right here. I also built my own little cargo box to put on the back rack. And like I said, so far, no issues. It's been a year of fun. I think I've put in about 1,800 miles on this bike. Still on the same set of tires, even though my back tire is getting pretty worn, so I'll be putting new tires on probably within a couple months. But I've had no battery issues, drivetrain issues, just lots of fun. So now let's talk about some of the issues I did have. Some of these I mentioned in my 6-month video, but I'll mention them again for anybody that didn't see that. On our first ride out, our first long ride out, this right here, the plastic fastener broke and this just fell and dangled. It was still operable, so I was able to get back with no problem. But I called Rad, or I went on their website, filed a claim, just followed the instructions like it said, and somebody answered that same day and told me that same day they already have a new one shipping out to me. And that was great customer service. I haven't had to use customer service since because I haven't had any other problems that I needed customer service for. Now, I did have one other problem, but I was able to figure it out on the trail. And it was, I was riding, and all of a sudden I had no pedal assist and no throttle, but everything was on. Unfortunately, where I was, I had internet access, so I was able to get on real quick and troubleshoot it, and found out that the little cutoff adjustment here on the front brake was in too far. So since I didn't have any tools on me during that ride, I just unplugged it from that front brake, and it got me going. I just didn't have the motor cut out when I hit the front brake, so I had to remember that. But those were the only two issues I had in a whole year. So I think that speaks to the quality of the build of the bike. And like I said, it still sounds really tight. There's not a lot of excessive rattling. Of course, there is some when you go over some really hard bumps. I mean, there's stuff on here that will rattle around like the cables, hit things. But just riding, can barely hear the motor. I hear more of the knobbies on the on the pavement than I do of the motor. So I am looking forward to many more fun years riding this bike. It's just a solid cruiser that it's hard to go wrong with. Now I know there's people out there saying no way, they would never buy a Rad because it's underpowered. It's only got a 48 volt 14 amp battery. I'm like, so unless you're one who has to have everything fast, you're always going fast, then this bike is not for you. But if you're just one who wants to cruise like I'm doing now, this bike is perfect. And maybe one you should consider if you're in the market for a cruiser type e-bike. So what's coming up for this next year of cruising around? Well, I wanted to get to Yosemite this year, but because of all the rain and all the snow they got in the Sierras, a lot of the campgrounds were closed, so it was really hard, or it was impossible. There was never any opening for a campsite. And trying to get one of the hotels inside the valley or outside the valley, you have to be a rich man. So we're going to try that. We're going to put that on the list for next year. We want to go back up to Tahoe again, try some of the other trails that we didn't get on our last trip. I'd also like to take like a week or so and do a road trip and go to different areas like Mammoth, the Bodie Ghost Town. Now, I don't know if they'll let us ride out there, but we can ride to it. It's a pretty magnificent place to see if you've never seen it. And maybe Red Rocks, or not Red Rocks, but the Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. Of course, that's going to be like an early spring or fall trip, because I don't know if I could handle riding around the desert in 110, 115 degrees. I don't think the bike would like it either. At least the battery. And of course, exploring more trails around the Bay Area here where we live. I'd like to take the bike up and find a nice, decent trail that takes us through the giant redwoods. These mountains I have up here on our left, they're filled with redwoods. And although I know they have a lot of mountain bike trails up there, they seem to be some of those single track, flying down the hill, jumps, hard turns, going over rocks, drop-offs. Not something that an e-bike like this would be particularly fond of. Maybe if I got something like the Side Rusher Ranger or the Himiway Cobra Pro that is more designed for that type of riding, then I would. But I'm on the search for like a nice gravel trail that goes through the redwoods. I think you guys would like to see that. I know my wife would love it. But those are some of the things that I'm going to try and do in the upcoming year. And it's still up in the air if we're going to end up adding any more bikes to our fleet of 3. We'll see how that goes. But I just wanted to give you some information on how that first year owning a RadRover 6 Plus was. And like I said, for me, it's just all thumbs up. I can't complain one bit. And with that said, I will see you on the next video. So you have a great weekend, a great week, and enjoy your ride. Bye.